quest has to begin somewhere, and ours begins with Final Fantasy IX. Now, a lot of people are going to say, Final Fantasy IX, that was one of the last games to come out for the PlayStation, let alone RPGs. Why the hell are you going to start there? And the truth is that we're going to start there because I'm a motherfucking time traveler. The fuck was that? By the time Final Fantasy IX rolled around, I knew the drill. It was going to be amazing, and as such was met with the appropriate fanfare. A parade in its honor, a small statue was erected, etc. Or maybe that was just my house, yours may have been different. Of course, hindsight as it is, this game generated the polarized opinions that it either marks the beginning of the series' downfall, or it's the last true Final Fantasy game. For many reasons, it seems to teeter that gap, and while I don't really find myself thinking that either of those statements are wholly accurate, I do tend to favor the latter. This probably being, in my opinion, the most underappreciated game in the bunch that I can think of. Sure, Zidane wasn't my choice protagonist at first, but I ended up with sort of a soft spot for the little pirate monkey boy thing. I mean, seriously, dude has a tail, vest, floofy shirt, and fucking cufflinks that aren't attached to anything! The character designs in general felt like HD rebuilds of the cartridge-era sprites, which I found endearing. I was straddling my junior and senior year of high school while playing this game. Although I played games what I thought felt like a lot at the time, it seems like my hour count must have been somewhat limited in retrospect, as a game like this could take me 4 to 6 months to complete. And as such, this game relates back to some serious milestones in my adolescence. I remember playing this game in a daze as I had begun seriously dating what was, at the time, my most stable girlfriend. I remember talking Final Fantasy IX strategy with my coworkers at my first job at an environmental lab. It was really weird. I worked the second shift and we set off chemical reactions and threw things off the roof, neither of which were work-related, of course. I remember spending all-nighters with my friends playing this game deep into the recesses of the morning, before passing out in separate rooms, hurtling insults at each other, just for the fun of it. This game, having encompassed so many milestones in my journey towards what I then thought was adulthood, was a natural choice to reacquire years later when I had grown nostalgic. So I picked this one up again back in 2008. In fact, I was replaying this game when I began dating the woman that would later become my wife. So this game intrinsically is linked with a number of huge milestones in my life. On top of all that, I find the game itself to just be absolutely delightful. It's a true fairy tale from beginning to end, and decided to take a chance on exchanging the series' new standard of brooding heroes unraveling a complicated and world-threatening plot while simultaneously accomplishing self-realization, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy that stuff as well, for a lighter and more jubilant fare that still had a world-threatening plot in there, for good measure. It was a bold move and kept the series fresh in my eyes, without compromising the elements that made it great. As proven later in the series' history, some bold moves don't quite pay off. I remember, upon beating the game, both times actually, thinking to myself, that's it? That was so simple. Not in a bad way, just in a way I hadn't expected. Unlike most Final Fantasy games, its plot was so straightforward and easily followed, at least for me, that I understood it on my first playthrough, which definitely could not be said for a good number of entries prior to and after this one. It felt like a return to the series' humble beginnings in a number of ways. Lastly, this sticks out to me as one of my last major experiences I had with the PS1, before moving towards the PS2 era. Of course, I paid no heed to it at the time, but a huge chapter in my gaming biography was coming to a close. Alright, so there you have it, Final Fantasy IX. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out our next one on Wednesday, where we got a little bit of a special announcement for y'all. Now, if you guys will excuse me, I have some business to attend to back at the beginning of the video.